Should I start, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's starting the live.
I
Just
can start, yeah?
second. Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So, this is the month where we speak about glories of Bhagavatam, and we can pick any verse or any canto, chapter, canto. So I actually picked chapter 7, canto 1, uh, because I'll actually be speaking about this to our kids' Sunday school. So I decided to stick with the same one here. Um, Canto 1 is creation, and this chapter is called The Son of Drona Punished. The son of Drona is Ashwatthama. So that's the overall section in this book. And so there's two big themes in this chapter. One is the concept of Atmaram is introduced, and the other big part is how the son of Drona gets punished, Ashwatthama. And it touches upon a key theme about decision making, specifically, which I thought is very relevant to all of us in how can we go about decision making. So those were the two main themes I wanted to sort of touch on from this chapter. So this chapter begins with um, Shaunaka Rishi asking Suta Goswami, you know, after Vyasadeva has heard everything from Narada Muni, like the Bhagavatam, what does Vyasadeva end up doing? And so, it's described that Vyasadeva starts meditating. He starts seeing Krishna as he's meditating, and it's talked about how um, Vyasadeva is able to do the meditation while not being affected by the material energy. He's able to control the distraction of the material energy and still able to meditate on Krishna and see Krishna actually. And then Vyasadeva speaks all of this Bhagavatam to his son Sukadeva Goswami. And so naturally a question is asked. Sukadeva Goswami was already on this path of perfection. Why does he need to go through the study? Why does he need to study any of this? He was already in the path of perfection. And so this is where the Atmarama verse is introduced. I'm just going to read it. The verse is 1.7.10, 1.7.10. The verse says, it says, Suta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atmaramas. Atmaramas are those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. Um, and so, it hearing devotional service isn't just meant for beginners. It's even the advanced devotees, cherish and relish in hearing Bhagavatam and learning about Bhagavatam. And then there's a bit of expansion on that, this Atmarama concept. That's the first part of this chapter. Um, and it's uh because the Atmaramas are the ones that you know enjoy doing devotional service without any kind of desire in place. That's a big distinction, right? The beginning devotees might have a desire or an expectation that if I'm doing this devotional service, there should be something in return I might be getting. But again, the Atmaramas are sort of beyond that stage. So where it begins describing this chapter. And then there's a very sudden shift in the chapter where it pivots to the description of Ashwatthama, who is Duryodhana's son. Um, so when uh, the war had happened and Duryodhana's back was broken and um, the Kauravas had been defeated. Uh, the son of Dronacharya, and Dronacharya is the teacher. He's the teacher. He's the of he taught the Pandavas, right, how to fight. Like he was their main guru growing up. And so Dronacharya's son, Ashwatthama, he was on the side of the Kauravas in the battle between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So Ashwatthama, after the war had been done, he decided to behead, he decided to kill the five sleeping sons of Draupadi. He went and killed their heads. And he thought Duryodhana would be happy about this. So in this case, Duryodhana Ashwatthama went and killed the five heads of Draupadi's kids, and thinking Duryodhana would be happy. And then he goes and tells Duryodhana, "Look, I've killed these five heads of Draupadi's son." And even Duryodhana, when he heard about this, was completely disapproving of this heinous act. He said, "Why would you go and kill Draupadi's son's kids? I understand we lost the war, but that is such a lowly thing to do. It's not something we do in our Vedic tradition. Why would you go and kill Draupadi's sons? That's not something I would ever want." And so then, of course, Ashwatthama knows, okay, even Duryodhana is, not approving of this. I've done something wrong. Of course, when Draupadi hears about this, that her five kids have been dead, she's distraught as a mother. She's in complete anguish, worried. And being a devotee doesn't mean you don't have emotions. So she has the emotion of feeling sad. Just like how when Dhruva Maharaj's mother found out that her son was not allowed to sit on the lap, and he came crying to his mother, the first thing she does is exhibit emotion of sadness and validates what Dhruva Maharaj is feeling. So similarly, Draupadi is going through her. It's not similar. It's much worse in Draupadi's case. Her sons are dead, but so she's in complete anguish. Arjuna, of course, hears about this, and he has made his mission to go and kill and punish Ashwatthama. So he promises to Draupadi, "I will go find Ashwatthama and I will kill him. I will bring him to you." And so Arjuna gets on his chariot, is chasing after Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama sees from a distance that Arjuna is coming at a very fast speed. So, Ashwatthama is going, running, 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 and Arjuna is behind him, coming in his chariot. It's as if, it's extremely fast chase, and Arjuna is closing on, coming close to Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama then releases the Brahmastra. He doesn't know what to do, so he releases the most fearsome weapon, which is the Brahmastra. Arjuna gets scared of the Brahmastra. It is a glaring light everywhere in the sky, if you can imagine. And it's interesting to see that Arjuna is in this fear. He has just won this huge war, this huge battle against the Kauravas. And he's in great fear that the Ashwatthama, that the Brahmastra has been released. And so what does he do? He he prays to Krishna. He goes to Krishna for guidance. It's very easy that we do it when we accomplish a huge task at work or in our personal life. Um, and we think that ego gets to our head and we think we don't need anyone's help. No matter how humble we might be, we might take this approach of I've just accomplished this huge task. I know how to do this, and you become egoistic. But look at the fact that Arjuna has won the biggest war ever, and he first thinks of taking guidance from Krishna. That's the first person that comes to his mind. So this Brahmastra is in air. He goes to Krishna and says, He prays to him. He actually offers prayers while the Brahmastra is coming and about to address him, attack him. He's actually offering these very meaningful prayers to Arjuna, to Krishna. And Krishna advises to Arjuna, listen, this is the son of Dronacharya. You have to release a Brahmastra on your side to counteract the Brahmastra that Ashwatthama has just released. So then Arjuna releases a Brahmastra on his side. So these two Brahmastras are coming, and when they're the two rays of the Brahmastra are coming. This great circle of fire forms in the sky, and the entire outer space, including the planets, are just covered with the sun and fire everywhere. Everyone, all the populations in the three worlds are just burning in this heat, that the strong heat that's coming. It's everyone is thinking that, oh no, the annihilation is about to take place. We're all about to be annihilated. So it's interesting. We read about this pastime, but it's not a joke that these two Brahmastras are released. It's not what we see in it's not just two arrows colliding. It's the world, it thinks that they're about to die. It's scorching heat, and it's a pretty huge event that ends up happening. So these two collide, and then Arjuna sees that everyone is in disturbance. Everyone is about to maybe perhaps die because of these two Brahmastras. So then Krishna asks Arjuna to retract the Brahmastras. So that Arjuna is able to, with his mystic power, retract both the Brahmastras, his and Ashwatthama's. And Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam that it shows that the world can't just be killed by small politicians. Everything under operates under the whim of Krishna. In one sense, if these two Brahmastras were there and they had collided, the whole world could have been destroyed. And this is what happens in our world, right? One country releases nuclear weapons or harmful weapons, and then the other country reacts, and a war begins, and an entire continent could be wiped out. But you know, Krishna doesn't let those things destroy the entire world. Um, he has some sort of um, guidance in how all this operates. So just like that, these two Brahmastras are about to destroy the world. He's able to guide Arjuna. The Brahmastras are retracted, and that immediate situation is avoided. Then Arjuna goes to Ashwatthama and arrests him. He binds, he binds him in ropes. And this is where the decision-making process starts happening in this chapter. So he's bound Ashwatthama in ropes. And again, this is the man who has killed the Pandavas' 5 kids intentionally. And so Krishna immediately starts to say, Arjuna, do not release Ashwatthama even though he's a Brahmana. He's committed a huge sin. And it says in the Bhagavatam that Krishna is trying to examine Arjuna in religion. He's encouraging Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya. Um, but Arjuna didn't like the idea of killing Ashwatthama. Then he brings Ashwatthama to Draupadi, and Draupadi sees Ashwatthama, who's bound in ropes like an animal, and she's just silent, and she first actually offers respect to Ashwatthama because he's a Brahmana by designation. So first she offers her respects, um, and then she asks Arjuna to release Ashwatthama. She says he's like a spiritual master. He's the son of Dronacharya. Dronacharya is the one who taught all of us, all of you all. And Ashwatthama is the son of Dronacharya, who's like a spiritual master. So let him be. And Draupadi says, I'm feeling the pain of losing my 5 sons. I don't want Ashwatthama's wife to feel the pain if he's killed. I know what that pain feels like when someone close to you is dead. So I don't want Ashwatthama's wife to feel this way. And so, and then on the other hand, again, Krishna is saying, but Ashwatthama is an aggressor. He has killed someone, so he should be killed. So Arjuna is in this, he's in this decision-making process. So one person is saying this thing, another person is saying a different thing. And then everyone agrees with what Draupadi is saying, but then Bhima, Arjuna's elder brother, steps in, and Bhima says, um, he should definitely be killed. Ashwatthama should definitely be killed. He's an aggressor, like what Krishna just said. And then Krishna goes on to say, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he's an aggressor, he must be killed. And you have to fulfill the promise to your wife, and you must satisfy me and what Bhimasena is saying. So you must kill Ashwatthama. And at that point, Arjuna starts to see the motive of Krishna. And so with his sword, he severs Ashwatthama's hair and the jewel in Ashwatthama's head, but he doesn't kill Ashwatthama himself. And it's described in the Bhagavatam that, Ashwatthama loses his bodily luster because now the jewel from his head has been taken and his hair has been cut. And cutting the hair from his head is depriving him of his wealth. Um, and it's these are one of the highest punishments of a Brahmana as described. And so he doesn't kill Ashwatthama, but he severs these two things, and it's apparently as equal to taking as humiliating him and depriving him of his wealth and his position in society by taking those two things away. So that's where this happens. So Arjuna, smartly is able to satisfy Draupadi's request and Krishna's request of what they had, of what they had asked for. And so then after that, the Pandavas and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, perform the necessary rituals for the dead bodies of their kids, and that's what ends up happening. And so, this is the main point of this. That the part that I wanted to start getting into now is the aspect of decision making. Many times in our life, we are we're faced with two or three different directions, and we were confused often how to make that decision. And so this is something that Arjuna had to go through in this scenario. But taking a step back, I wanted to maybe think about this aspect of decision making. I mean, in this case, Krishna was testing him. Draupadi wanted one thing, and Arjuna was able to use his intelligence and find a middle ground to basically find a solution to sort of make this work. But if you take a step back, I wanted to reflect this in the sense of the entire Bhagavad Gita. I think there's very important moments in the Gita where we can learn about sort of decision making. We can take some guidance of how Arjuna and Krishna approach decision making, the entire war, whether to fight it or not to fight it. And so I just wanted to draw some themes from the Gita about decision making and see how we can sort of think about it. Prabhupada often says the moment you take a decision to choose something else that doesn't take you towards Krishna, then Maya kicks you in the face. I think we've heard the famous quote, you don't go to Krishna, Maya will kick you in the face. And so the decision to make a path towards Krishna consciousness has the potential to be the best decision, right? That's the best potential decision. Although Krishna says in the Gita also, at the end when he's spoken to Arjuna, he's explained the entire Gita. Krishna says, I think the verse is 1863. He says, "Thus I've explained to you knowledge, still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do." I think the exact Sanskrit is "Yat techasi tatha kuru." He's saying, do whatever you would like to do. So he's not interfering in the decision. He's saying, think about it, deliberate about it, See what you want to do. It's your free will, and so Krishna doesn't interfere with decisions. He's allowing Krishna what to do, even though he spoke with the entire Gita. And so it's often described that the Bhagavad Gita, it's not a commandment. It's not a list of you must do this and you must not do this. It's rather a book that it gives you all the tools on helping you, how to think and sort of not what to think, but what things you should think about to make a decision. So we're very fortunate in that sense that it's not a word of God that you must do. It's a set of things that you can use to help make decisions. And and so in this case, Arjuna had the biggest decision in his life to make, right? He's at the battlefield. He's standing in front of his elders, his relatives, and he is on this pivotal moment of deciding what should he do? Should he fight? Should he not fight? That's the biggest decision he makes. And so in 45 minutes, after Hare Krishna explains or recites the entire Gita, Arjuna says to Krishna, all my doubts have been decimated. I know I'm meant to fight. And then he goes on to make that fight. But before he makes that decision to fight, he sort of before he makes that decision to fight, there's a couple like I think preliminary decisions that he makes before he makes a decision to fight that I think are worth for us to understand. Um, and I think what's interesting is that as we begin our lives when we were first born, mostly we don't have to make many decisions as we're young, right? As little kids, everything is laid out for us. Maybe until college, everything is laid out for us. Um, which school you go to, which friends maybe you hang out with, what activities you do, mostly is being decided by our parents. It's like this conveyor belt. But it's really after, or maybe at college time, all these decisions starts coming on to you. And you have to start thinking about all these big things in life. Do I get married? Where do I work? Do I have kids? Um, where should I live? Who should I be associating with? And that's when it's decision after decision after decision. And so there's kind of a couple of decisions in the Gita that Arjuna demonstrates before he makes his final decision to fight. The first one is um, in the beginning of the Gita, he challenges he challenges the definition of success. So he kind of makes this decision where he wants to understand what success means in life. He says basically, um, is it really successful for me to win this kingdom? Like, if I kill everyone, is that what's going to make me happy? Like, is having kingdom is that the goal? Is that what success means in life? So he's questioning the goal of life, or the goal of this entire war, success. We often talk about success criteria at work. So here he's challenging the criteria of success for this decision. Why am I doing it? What am I doing it? And so it's described when you fight in the war and you release when you're about to shoot an arrow, you first pull back that arrow and then you decide where to aim. You don't just take out the arrow and just release it. You pull back, you think about who should I be aiming it towards. You're kind of reflecting on the goal of who this arrow should be going to. So just like that, Arjuna is really questioning success. Why should I? And so, um, in order to do that, you have to really step away from your opinions, the expectations around you, whatever tradition has been set by your parents or by society around you. You have to sort of take a step aside, and that's what Arjuna does. Even though everyone is encouraging him to fight, he's just really questioning the goal in mind. And that's the first decision is understanding the success criteria that one should make. What is the real purpose of me doing this? And so that's where Krishna helps Arjuna understand the goal or the success of life. Because once you can do that, then you can orient everything around it. Um, and in this case, Krishna doesn't just give a generic answer. He actually describes what the goal of success might be in fighting this war. Then the second key, I think, decision Arjuna makes is this this is not an order, but another decision he makes rather is that he's decided to consult someone about this, right? He says in chapter 2, um, I don't know what to do. I'm confused. The Karpana Dosha Bharata Swabha verse. So he decides to consult. He says, Krishna, I want to understand what I should be doing. And so whenever we are faced with a big decision, it's always helpful to decide to consult someone. And in this case, he's consulting Krishna. Being able to take any kind of spiritual inspiration, um, consulting someone that is beyond your intelligence, it can make a difference. And so now Krishna Arjuna has this voice of inspiration. And we can always pray to Krishna as well to give us guidance or some ideas of what to do. So in the beginning of this battlefield, Arjuna was seeing the entire battlefield through some sense of emotion, sentiment. My relatives will die and this will happen. But when he consults Krishna, now he's able to see this entire thing through the lens of scripture. He has some intelligence and spiritual backing behind all of this now. And so when you seek guidance from someone, it kind of helps you see the world in a different way. That's sort of the second decision Arjuna thinks about. When you have these two things, the third thing that that the Gita ends up showing us is being able to connect these two things. So now you have what the goal of life or what the success criteria should be. Now you have someone to advise you. Now every small decision you make should in the end be connected to this goal or this ultimate goal that you have. And so whenever you're making a decision, Arjuna in this case is making a decision that has to connect to the ultimate goal that he's just been taught about, that he's been taught by Krishna. And so the issue becomes when people make decisions without connecting it to the ultimate goal, right? And so Arjuna asks in this case, um, why is it that even though I know what the right thing to do is, I still feel like I'm making the wrong decision. I'm doing the wrong thing. He says it openly, Krishna, you have told me everything, but I feel like I'm making the wrong decision still. Why do I want like why is there a tendency for the human being? They know exactly what to do, but they still do the wrong thing. And so and then Krishna answers this question. He says, um, well, to be exact, Arjuna's question is, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So that's the question he says. And then our Krishna answers right away in that next verse. This is verse 337. He says, it's lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, which is all devouring, sinful enemy of this world. So he says it's lust that makes us still do the wrong thing, even though we know what the right thing is to be done. And so again, in this case, Krishna says, as you fight in this battlefield, be fixed on me, and you will definitely come to me. And so again, that connection of knowing what the ultimate goal is important when you make that initial decision. And the last, I think, maybe decision or lesson that we can take is Arjun, is courageous. He in the end, in 18.66, Krishna says, just surrender unto me. And so Arjuna takes that decision to be surrender and be courageous to fight this battle. It's a risk to some extent, right? To be courageous and to go and fight. But Dhruva Maharaj took that risk of being risky. He was advised to go to the forest at the age of 5. He does it. At the age of 5, he goes to the forest, not knowing what might happen, but he says, "Let me go and try it." Prahlad Maharaj takes that risk. Um, again, he's also, what at a very young age, he himself believes that Krishna is the right person to worship, even though his own father is telling him to do something else. But he takes that risk and does it. So, Arjuna in this case has decided to take that risk, and he becomes courageous to go and fight. So just to tie it back to 1.7, this canto chapter, Son of Drona punished. Um, it's a very complex decision for Arjuna to kill this Brahmana or to not kill this Brahmana. He finds a way to do this, but these four things are really helpful. Knowing what the ultimate goal in life is, consulting someone, connecting that decision to the ultimate goal, and then being courageous, being risky to make that decision. So yeah, that's what I wanted to sort of cover today was the Atmarama concept and then decision making from this chapter. Um, I'll stop here and see if other devotees want to add any comments or thoughts to this.
First of all, sorry for delaying the start.
No problem.
Yeah. That was I've heard this
Hare
past many times, but
Krishna Prabhu. Excellent, all the best messages.
I think Prabhu is in a taxi, so like that. I don't remember this idea of tagging the decision to the ultimate goal. So that was kind of a new perspective. Thank you for that.
Yeah. True. Okay, if nothing else, we can end here, and I hope
Yeah, sure.
devotees have a good day today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay. I was talking earlier. I know. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Nice class. So, decision making is always a tough, especially when it's like a complex decisions. So, when the outcome is not very clear, right? So, I mean, also in this case, it's very challenging for Arjuna or even I mean, in both cases, in the Bhagavad Gita scenario, even here, right? Kill and not to kill. Especially, I mean, one time is the compassion, and the other side is the kind of aggression that Dashvatama did, right? It's a heinous activity. I mean, anybody in the situation would like acted out like Bhima did, right? Bhima was saying, Arjuna, kill him. But then again, Draupadi was so compassionate and she was saying not to, I mean, she was seeing all other things also, but it's very difficult to take a decision. So, yeah, I mean, especially in those kind of scenarios, you mentioned that, yeah, we need to take guidance. But yeah, I was just thinking, Prabhu, it's how difficult it is to take some even simple decisions, right? Even in our life,
Like
because when we don't know what is going to come out, right, from the decision. So, I mean, tying it to the, hmm? What, Prabhu? Can you hear me?
No, yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. No, sorry. I'm on road. So, I mean, yeah. So, how difficult it is taking it to take a decision? I mean, you mentioned tying it to the goal. I mean, that would be the right thing, but still the goal is far away, right? So I think to help to make our decision in that direction, I think guidance is the right thing, right? Because the person will be able to see who has more intelligence than us, right? In that perspective, will be able to guide us. So thank you, Prabhu, for nice class. I was just trying to think about it, all the points that you mentioned. So,
Thank you for for for,
Hare
for
Krishna.
sharing, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, the one thing I'll say is, I was just reflecting back on like some of the things that I've had to decide. Like I remember I had to decide between going to college A versus college B. One college is in Wisconsin, the other college was in Illinois. Or deciding where I should live. Should I live in California? Should I live in Illinois? I mean, these are not the biggest decisions, but at the time, these were big decisions for me to sort of think about. Or, deciding about just should I go to this home program today or not? Like these very simple maybe decisions. And there's like the ultimate goal in life, which is of course to go to Krishna, but there's also like just the aspect of asking the why to yourself. Like why should I go? Like what is the benefit of going to college? Like, am I just going to college because everyone is doing it, or do I understand the why? Like what is my what should I be getting out of it? And just having that clarity is important to have when making a decision. Or something as simple as there's so many programs this weekend, should I go to this particular home program? Could be a decision that we might have to make on a summer weekend, especially when there's hundreds of programs happening. And so I think just taking a step back and thinking about why do I want to go to this program, or what will I get out of it, can maybe help make that decision sometimes. So what I took away from when I was reading this was um like just I don't know how often we reflect on the why. We're really good at reflecting about the what. Like what should I do uh to make this like what should I sort of what's involved in this decision? But it's I think rarely do we ask the question, why is this beneficial to me, or why should I even consider doing this? So I've even thought about that for Sunday feast sometimes. Like what am I trying what am I getting out of Sunday feast? Like what is the why am I going there? Because then that might help guide how and what we do at Sunday feast. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share more on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. And I was just thinking in the case of where multiple parties are involved, we need to take a decision that affects to a lot of other people, right? That is going to be more challenging. So that in some situation in our my life, I was just reflecting on when I was talking about that, right? So it's going to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hope everyone has a great day. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.